I think most houses have a lot of coffee mugs on hand, and I figured the Dollhouse should too. So today we are creating these coffee mugs, but they're not made of clay. They're super easy, super quick, and super fun to make. So stay tuned and see how they came together. Alright, to get started, what we are going to need is some cardstock, and I've already cut it down to 2 inches wide. And this length doesn't matter. We're only going to use a little bit off the end. We need to cut 2 strips off for each mug. And you could make your handles a separate color if you wanted to. It's up to you. Our first piece is going to be 3/8 of an inch. And this is much easier when I can have my head right here instead of back here. So, alright, so that's our first piece. Our second piece, we need just as narrow as we could get. This is probably around a 1/16 of an inch. It's narrower than an 1/8. Really skinny, and try and get both of those pieces really straight. Get my cutting mat out of the way. Now we need a number 10 knitting needle. This is important because this makes it the right size for our hole punch piece to cover the bottom. So this is what we're forming our mug on. The first thing we're going to do, actually we're going to take a pair of scissors. Remember when you make curling ribbon? How you do that? You're going to do that with paper. That works with paper too. And some brands of cardstock work better than others. Some brands I have found will curve really nicely, and some will split. If it splits, cut another piece and try again. Now this little skinny piece, I'm going to roll it around here because we need to get, and it can spiral because what we're getting is we're just getting a curve to it. This piece will be our handle when we're all done. And don't get rid of your scrap of cardstock. You're going to need it later. So now, practice rolling this around. Make sure that this will roll around, and you need it to roll snug. You need it really, really snug. All right. When you're confident that you've got enough curl in this that it's going to make a snug fit around that needle, pull out a piece of scrap paper and a glue stick. On your end that will be closest to the knitting needle, whoops, pull my glue stick up. I always retract my glue stick when I put the lid on. Glue on the outside. On the other end, put glue on the inside. The lid back on your glue stick, pick up your knitting needle and put the side that doesn't have any glue on it against your needle. Pulling this as tight as you can, and this will be a little on the messy side because you're going to have glue all over your fingers. Okay, I have made like a half dozen of these off camera and none of them rolled crooked. The minute I turn the camera on, they decide to roll crooked. Okay. Yeah. Get this nice and snug and held down. Now I'm going to need a toothpick, which I no longer have on my desk. Let me turn the camera off and go get a toothpick. Alright, when my son moved out recently, I moved things around in my house, and one of those things was I switched desks. Alright, let's see if I can get this lid off. I have just some tacky glue. This happens to be turbo tacky glue. If you have super glue and you're brave enough to use it this close to your fingers, this would be a good place to use super glue. I had 3 bottles of super glue that were solid this morning, so that didn't work too well. Now, find the spot where your seam is. We're going to cover the seam with the handle. Get some glue on a toothpick, and right next to that seam, put a nice dollop, real close to the top. the curliest end of, let's see if I can do this where you guys can see and I can still work. Whoops, I'm not in camera. Push this in, and I like to put another little dollop of glue, and you can line a whole bunch of mugs up on this knitting needle. I would do all of the first step and put all the mug bodies on, and then go through and put all the handles on. Now this glue needs to dry, and this needs to dry thoroughly before we go to the next step. Let me bring you down so you can see a little closer what I did there, but there we go. It doesn't look like much yet, but it will. So I'm going to let this glue dry, and when it gets all dry, I'll be back and we'll do the next step. Alright, now that glue is dry, and make sure that this is still loose on your knitting needle. Get that out of the dried up glue. Now we are going to glue the bottom of the handle down, and by having this handle long, it makes it a lot easier to manipulate it around. This is the style handle I like to use. If you want to do a different style, go online, get some inspiration, or look in at your mug collection at home, and you know, find a style that you like. So we're going to hold that down until it stays. I like to put another bit of glue over the top. We are going to coat this in a clear finish, and you may find that you have to hold on to this. This is another place where super glue would be awesome. Push it down really hard, and we are going to let this glue dry. Once this is dry, we'll come back and we'll do the next part. Make sure you have an opening so your dolls could, you know, potentially put their fingers between there. So I'm going to let the glue dry and then I'll be back. Alright, I've zoomed the camera in. I'm going to do my best to stay under camera with this. So do check this several times, because I thought I had it glued down, and I came back to do another check and found that it had come off. That last gluing spot does not like to stay. So now take it off the knitting needle and trim it, just even with the bottom. For the next step, I like to slide it back on here though. Now you need the glue to be pretty much dry. If you've got little like bits of stuff, try and get everything off. We're going to need a place to rest this, and you'll need a place to suspend your knitting needle so that it is off of your table. And then nail polish, clear nail polish. Whoops, we're not under camera. There, we're under camera. Sorry about that. I was not looking at the screen. I was looking at what I was doing. Any clear nail polish for our next step. And I'm going to do this on here because it's just easier. I've got some glue gunk there, but I'm going to ignore it on this one. Go under there, but make sure that you don't have solid nail polish in your handle opening. There is some kind of hair. There we go. So now let this dry, and you'll probably want to put 2 coats on. So let it dry and put a second coat on. Probably kind of bad planning to have a red cup over a red thing, but this I just had on my desk. So anyway, I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to put a second coat on, and when the second coat dries, I'll be back and we'll go on. Alright, so the second coat of nail polish is dry, so now we need to slide this off. We're going to put out a little pool, another little pool of tacky glue. I might put this over here so you can actually see more what I'm doing. It's a lot less wasteful of glue if you're doing multiple ones of these rather than just one. And then using just a standard hole punch, these are about 1/4 inch in diameter, we're going to punch. I'm going to find a pair of tweezers. I just got regular tweezers here. Dip the bottom of your mug down in the glue. Make sure it's all covered. If it bubbles across, that's cool. If it doesn't, that's cool too. The hardest part of this, I swear, is picking up this little circle. Okay. Get these so I can hold on to them. So these aren't my normal crafting tweezers, but those are on the other table. And just tap that down in there. And now that needs to dry. Let's see if I can get this over here and zoom in a little bit so you can see. Oops, too far. There. It covers the bottom almost perfectly. So we're going to let that glue dry and then I'll be back. Alright, once that glue that is holding the bottom onto the mug is dry, we're going to put a coat of clear polish just over the bottom to kind of seal that and let that dry. And once that's dry, we'll go on. Alright, another really quick step. Once that is dry on the bottom, you're going to flip it over, and there's where I put it. I couldn't figure out where I set my nail polish. And we're just going to kind of rim the top and go down in. And I like to drop a drop of nail polish down inside at the bottom to kind of help seal that bottom so we don't lose the bottom. And we're not going to fill these, but it just makes it more secure. So that just needs to dry and then we'll come back and check on it. Alright, so our little red mug that we've been working on is all dry. And I've also made a few others. I made this striped one, and I think this turned out really cute. I can see that in a setting, and that is made from this paper. Again, it's a cardstock for card making. It's a nice thick, these are thick cardstocks. You can see how it reacts. It's not a thin paper. This yellow one is again just a plain cardstock, and then this green one is this kind of iridescent cardstock that I've got. I am a card maker too, so I have a lot of cardstock, and both of these came in those books of cardstock that you buy to make cards with. So I thought with our yellow one, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to decorate the side of this one. So I have this nail art, I'll turn this over right side up, nail art sticker book it's called. And it has all these sheets of nail art stickers. And I do use these on my nails from time to time. My nails are a total mess today. But I thought it might be kind of fun to see if I could do a butterfly. Now let's see, I want to do it on this side. These are little tiny clear stickers. Want to do any more? I think we'll do a little white flower too, that the butterfly is flying away from. And then these are just sealed with a clear nail polish, just as if you were doing them on your nails. So that is how easy it is to make a not clay set of mugs. You could do a whole set of these really inexpensively. And you can see some of my handles are a little bit different shape. I wanted to show a little bit of variety, so I made that one a little different. But I love these, and it might help if I actually had them all under the camera. There we go. Hopefully you saw all of that. And come back next week, because hopefully I have another project where we're going to use one of these mugs. Let's see if I can get you a little closer. If I go in slowly and move this, maybe I can work the camera up where you get a, oops, too close. It doesn't like that close. There. I love how these turned out. I think they are really cute. Not going to move that one because it's still wet. But I hope you enjoyed this project. Be sure and check the blog post. I'll have some photos of these with the dolls. Check the Facebook page. If you haven't hit the like button on the Facebook page, I'd really encourage you to do that. We get the conversation rolling over there quite often, and that is the fastest way to get a hold of me. Also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to, because there's a lot of videos on this channel, and I try to put 2 up a week over here. So I will talk to you later. Bye.